Hello and welcome to this playthrough of Factorio, where I am building a megabase on Earth. I am using a mod, Cities of Earth, focusing on the Old World Hemisphere. My goal is to reach 10,000 science per minute with a rail-based design. The resources are set to maximum size and density, and biters and pollution are turned off. The mod list is shown in the description, as well as a link to my Twitch channel, High Speed. Please come visit me there. Questions and comments are welcome. Thank you for watching. Hello. Let me get some music going. All right. Good. So, I am designing a replacement for my item producers. Oh, also, I have a fresh monster. Not sponsored or affiliated. So I'm in the process of setting this up, and I realize that I have put down the wrong one. I'm going to keep a lot of this. But these are all going to be backwards. Because, hello, Mango, welcome. This design uses railroad train loaders, train stops, on the opposite side of the unloaders and combinators, and so I'm essentially wasting precious space here. And it had been pointed out to me that if I designed it differently to put these all on the same side, it would be more space efficient. But that requires that I completely redo everything I've done, which I don't think anybody who's seen me play this game would have any issue with me redoing everything I've done, because that's what I do. If that's going to be upside down. If we're going to have the station on the bottom, or on the same side in this case, these are so this is designed to let the train get here. And then this is the this is the exit. I'll have to reevaluate these once the stations are in place. I think what I'll do is I'll just take this Yes, because we can and 1,000 other reasons. That's a good one. But we'll just blacklist the rails because that's all I want. Flip it, place it, and then we're guaranteed to get a full set. Now, my standard rail setup, a straight T-junction, one that's easy for me to understand and follow, looks like this. Now, this connection looks this way because this is... see, putting that on the other side breaks my stacker. That's why I didn't do this. So now I have to redesign my stacker because this doesn't even come close to working correctly. And I want to get off of this patch because it bothers me. So this is going to be an unloader and a full set of unloader. And then this would be a loader. Do I want to solve that right now? I don't want to solve that right now. So that's a loader. So these are the two loaders, zero loaders. These are the two four loaders. This is the unloader. And this is the other unloader. All right. And what I've got right here is an alternative unloader. So between this one and this one, a green wire cannot travel. And it looks like I have a green wire here. Because this will break everything if there's... Okay, there is not a green wire here. Good. So I'm not concerned about this. This is a good thing. So now I want to take a 0 unloader and do the same thing, or a 0 loader and do the same thing. And it was quite challenging to do this. So if I hold up a train here, that might work. Now, what I essentially did was I moved these down to, got rid of this, take all of that, flip it. Now it shifts a lot of things. And we lose some connections. So I can't move that, but I'm looking to see where is its network connection. Yeah, it's got one still. Loaders and unloaders have very different stuff. Hi, Aiden. Yes, Factorio IT. Checking to make sure you don't trip over your Wi-Fi connection. Yeah, I know that guy too. So this is what a loader's going to look like here. And then I got to get the refueling thing in here. So this is designed this way so that I can get trains in here to build it. Yeah, and the massive stacker for interrupts is a challenge as well because you're going to have traffic issues up the wazoo, right? Well, you also got to, not just the stacker, but all those trains coming in and coming out are going to cause a massive traffic jam. So you kind of have to have a flow through design. Otherwise, you're really going to be in trouble because your trains are all going to get, and it's going to make trains slower because trains accelerate slowly. So you're going to have to increase the number of locomotives, which increases fuel requirements. And that's just not ideal. I don't recommend it. I'm wondering what the magic number of identical stations and other sections of my base is going to have to refuel so that I can avoid that traffic jam. Yeah, and unfortunately, it's a trial and error situation that is not going to be pleasant to figure out because it's only going to be manifesting problems when it's under heavy load. Dino! Cutie butt. Contractually obligated to say it that way. So my expectation, Aiden, is that I'm going to have several of those. So I'm not liking how this is manifesting itself here. I see now why I put the stations on the sides that I did. Because my rail network doesn't allow me to cross over like this. Right, so those are all of my stops for trains coming in, but this is my train coming out path. So the only way this works is if that goes there and all of these come here. Which I really, really, really don't like. Hi, King. Welcome. How are you? I'm doing good. Having a good time here. There's apparently no lyrics for this song. So, yeah, that could be it, Aiden. There's only a couple of songs of theirs that I like, and I'm not going to fight you because you'll scratch my eyes out again. Oh, you get used to the interrupt train network, Aiden. It's a matter of working it into the way you play the game. I have these refuel stations built into where they unload, so I would not plan on using that anytime soon. Yes, Aiden, that's what I mean. You'll have to reconsider how you design your train network, which is unlikely to be done during an existing playthrough. Hmm. I don't like either one of these solutions. When you look at how it works, if I were to try and put an entrance on multiples, like here's a good example. If I tried to do it on both sides, I'd be in a really tough spot there. Yeah, I might not be willing to part with what I've got. in order to have that little bit of efficiency there. Because my rail network, I mean, I can see if I were doing an outside rail, outside signaling, it would go that way, but not inside. So otherwise, this thing is a real cluster. Raised rail would change things, although it's unlikely I would use raised rail. I thought about that. It's unlikely I would use raised rail in any situation like this because the raised rail, while it might reduce a few, its space is really space expensive. It takes a lot of floor space, and it's for throughput. I'm not having a problem with throughput here, right? I just don't want these extra collision points. Because I want trains to smoothly be able to get in here, because this creates a situation. If there's a T-junction here, this creates a situation where this could cause a deadlock because a train's trying to get in and a train's trying to get out. And if a train were trying to get in and out at this, two different trains, then a train coming in here is going to have, like a rail block here. But a train coming out here, if the train coming in is coming across from this direction, and a train going out wants to go in this direction, then they're going to lock each other up because he's going to have to stop here and wait until he can get all the way out, which is fine. But then he's going to have to stop here and wait until he's all the way out, which means that if there's a train leaving, there's going to be a train waiting on the main line to get in, which I definitely don't want. If it's here, the situation is that a train leaving, if it wanted to cross over, if there were one coming from the other direction, I'd have a similar problem, but they're not blocking out here, they'd be blocking in here. Now, I could add another switchback and that would solve this problem. I'm not liking my options here. Well, then this whole thing takes up more space, right? As it is, it's kind of nice that they're close together. They're about as close together as I can get them for 383 trains. Because the 383 train needs to be able to fit in between these connections too. Here's an example of where I had to push something back in order to ensure that I had room for the train to fit through the intersection. And here's an example of where I'm taking a risk because the train really doesn't have room to fit outside of this intersection. These should be pushed farther one down, but it takes up so much more space for a relatively small risk that I'm willing to give that a go. So, when you look at how compact I've been able to get this without it causing a jam, there's no chance of a jam going on here, or minimal. This is an example of, look at all this empty space. Well, I need this gap. I need to be able to have a train sit outside of this intersection, not blocking that intersection. It fits nicely there. It doesn't fit nicely here, and that's just the nature of the game. Well, this many plus a few. Any one of these stations could accept a maximum of 2 trains. 2 trains. But there's, for example, 4 drop-offs here. Right? It's designed to handle 5 drop-offs. I could fit a 5th drop-off in here if I needed to, and there's some designs where I have to. And so I have 5 stackers, one for each of those, because each one could request 2 trains. And then I have the loader, the output station. Technically, I should have a lane here for each output station. And I did not save room for that. So technically, I should have another one here. And all of these should be up by 1. And so what I planned to do was to shorten that, because I never intended to have 2 loading stations on any design, so I only have 1 for a stacker. But I also have a point here I just reminded myself, is that this is actually part of my stacker for these trains. Is that this should have been a rail signal so that I could use this length as a stacker, because they're not going anywhere else. So the answer to your question is 2. But when you look at what kind of space does a train take to turn around, right? That's your minimum height. So if I were to try and say keep this on this side, I'd have to push it all farther back from the network, from the main rail, farther. And if I was using a 4-laner, that would be even more space, in order to be able to, air quotes, correct for the fact that I'm a left-hand drive trying to use a unloader in that direction. So I'd have to turn, go all the way back, and then I'd get what I want. Just use bots, yeah. Dump it all off in one central spot. So it's looking like I'm gonna have to keep this design, because I don't have any interest in doing this. So that's what we'll probably do. A floating train. That's funny. So I've left it out of my blueprint, but there is room for an additional unloader right here. So copied the wrong thing. So I set this up so long ago, I forgot why I'd set it up, huh? There is the question as to whether or not I actually need this much. So one of the questions I ask myself is if I could tighten this up. Thanks, Aiden. Because I could certainly lose this gap. There's nothing beneficial about that gap. It would change the relationship on that, but put a minimum gap of that. So that's tiny. Oh, that prevents me from doing that. That's why that's there. Now it's shortest. How many times do I need all 5? 4 is the most I've used ever. I mean, I've used 4 several times. Here's a 5. It's also oil processing, which is a unique build in and of itself. And it's only a 5 because I wanted more oil reservoir storage. There's a 5 because I wanted 2 waters for the sulfuric acid, which I'm still not sure why I designed it that robust. Here's a 5. But it's actually a 6. 7. And it's a rather unique thing. So here's one where I took it as short as I could. So I'm going to have a gap somewhere. Because if I want to eliminate the extra gap like that, there are any 5s in science. Oil, but it's being piped in. There's a 5. Might not need to be a 5. 2 stone, 2 steel, and 1 red circuit is what I did here. Not necessary, I don't think, but if I didn't do that, then this would be much smaller and I'd have to build more. Because if it's 1, I can only get 2, but my build required 3. So I've got one situation where that needs to be 5. If, however, I wanted to eliminate that, I would have a gap up here or a gap down here because I still need this minimum space. And it's rail space, which means that I'm not really costing myself anything because a train coming through here is a train coming through. So I think I'm going to keep everything as it is. Leave this off. The only change I've got to make mentally is when I build a second loader down here, I have to remember to toggle this to a rail signal so that this chain that I have to add is supported, is working. All right, so no changes there. So I'm not doing same sides anymore, so I can just get rid of this. Rail items. Well, are you transferring? Yes, you are. This is going into archives. This is getting changed to 12.21. This is the same side loader I'm not going to use. If I need them, I will. Excuse me. So we're going to be updating this. We're going to maintain that break so that these things don't get fed. I'm going to put those down there so it looks like they're part of a train station. I thought I had a fully built one. I think it requires... Just heard this song. Sorry. Script zone. Well, I don't know, Scrub Zone, because after I made that change, I'm not sure. Right, I made that change yesterday, or not yesterday, but Monday at, in the afternoon. So when I say I just heard the song, yeah, it could have been 2 days ago, but it's in my memory as having just heard it. So if I do only one of these, am I still going to get that power connection? Yes, I am. So what's the smallest I have for unloading? I think it's these. So one of the things I did on these is that I added these robo ports. I don't think I'm going to put a robo port by default. Although I'm really tempted because I always want it there. Except for on you. Make my life easier, I think, if I just always accept that I'm going to have a robo port right there. And then you wouldn't have any power. So that reaches to right there. If I have a really long build, so moving that in a couple. It's going to be my best bet. My stream is not supposed to put you to sleep. Well, rhythmic breathing is what will put you to sleep. Go research Andrew Huberman, Huberman. He has a YouTube series on how to go to sleep. All right, so I think that's going to be our new structure. Binaural beats won't necessarily put you to sleep. They're not Binaural beats are not designed to put you to sleep. They don't function that way. They activate different parts of the brain and alternate frequencies. I've used them. I love them. And if you fall asleep while using binaural beats, it's because you were sleepy. They don't induce sleepiness. Um, they usually will do different things depending on your state. But just the simple belly breathing. Put your hand on your belly with your thumb on your belly button, and then just focus on the rising and falling of your hand, and it will cause a droning effect. You can also recite a mantra, one that you find to be particularly soothing. Well, different frequencies, and I know the best one I can recommend for binaurals is expensive, but it's called HoloSync, HOLOSYNC, by Centerpoint Research. And the reason that it's fantastic is because of the support and guidance they give you. Because using binaural beats is going to change your brain, and it's going to change the way you think. And what it did for me, and what for most people, is it increased the level of multifaceted things that can go on your life before causing massive stress overload. But you have to step it up in frequencies. It's just like weightlifting. You can't just simply sit down and start lifting maximum weights because you're going to cause yourself pain. And so, as with binaural beats, you've got to start at this frequency, move up to that frequency, move or down to that frequency, and down to that frequency. So you just can't do that to yourself and expect to have a healthy experience. Well, in which case you could try the YouTube videos of rain and thunderstorms, rain on city streets, depending on which one you want. Those don't actually put me to sleep, but they do help me to. They serve as great white noise in the background. No, not thunderstorms, just rain. But then again, maybe you associate rain with thunderstorms. Well, if you were doing binaural beats correctly, you would have fewer things giving you anxiety, because that's one of the things it does. It removes anxiety. So I have 3 kinds of these things now. I have this one. I need to go import the one for a dual loader setup. Good. Well, at least you found something that works for you. So that's copper cable, and this is green circuits, and I think I've got plastic. They're all really close to each other. Could use a little bit of massaging, and then they would all be identical, which is a big goal of mine, is to have these things consistently the same. So let me go get plastic. These are the 3 double loaders I've got. And these are the sort of things that you can't build until you build them. Right? You just don't know. So how do I get these 3 to behave in a similar fashion? Especially when I can't. Oops. When I can't line them all up. Where is 2? I don't see packs. Are you packs? You are packs. If you're going to help, I need you to sneak around. Because these never got deleted. Yeah, Mango. Today'll be a long day for me. I'll see you when you wake up. So what I wanted to be able to do was to put all 3 of these in a row so I could see them. Let's move all of these above this so that I can place them on it in a moment. Alright, so that'll get all these lined up on so that I'm not playing visual games here. Hi, Smokin'. And we can see here that the length for copper cable has to be longer because I'm using this special long and narrow balancer. Now, plastic has a similar problem as copper cable. Smoke and I don't have Cleveland, Ohio on this map. I don't know if you noticed, but this is only half the world. So, but that's a valid point. I can't help you there, bro. So I want to bring this up to get all these in alignment, but if I bring this up to get all these in alignment, then these fall off of alignment. So I would have to push those out of alignment, which means I would need to increase that gap. I don't know that I want to increase that gap. No, Dino, this is all there is. I'm not even going to go down to Aussie land. I have to manage the map size. It's already like 300 meg. Plus, I made the map so freaking big, I don't need it. I could have gone with a smaller map because I just don't need this much space. Sorry. Yep, no stuff. It's there. I'm not going to go there. Oh, that wasn't even enough. Now I've got a bit of a problem. Now I have a conundrum. A real conundrum. How far down do I take these? In order to get some conformity and consistency.